Have you ever noticed that the less you stress about what others think, the more things seem to work out? I used to care so much about every little thing, and because of that, things never worked out in my favor. When I finally let it all go, things started to fall in line like dominoes. Welcome back, my friends. Today I'm going to be sharing my insights on how letting go of constant worry changed my life and how it can change yours. Caring less does not mean that you are giving up. In fact, you're actually living life more efficiently. I'll walk you guys through it and provide some steps so you can follow to stop caring as much. Let's dive right in. First, let's talk about the problem with overcaring. This is a very negative thought process that can have you stuck in a rut for years if you don't know how to manage it. Most people don't even realize it's a problem, and that itself is a problem. I talked about this briefly in my other videos, but I'll go more in depth in this one. The average person lives their life in constant fear of what others think. This could be what their family thinks, friends, peers, co-workers, or even just people in public. Because of this, people live a version of their life that is nerfed. And I say nerfed because they will never live up to their full potential if they live like this. If you guys fall victim to this, then you know exactly what I mean. It can get so bad that you can identify that you care too much and still do it. Almost like an addiction to thinking too much. If you guys don't fall victim to this, then consider yourself lucky. But I'm sure you guys know at least one other person that lives like this, so you guys will have some sort of understanding. I grew up my entire life thinking too much of what others thought about me. In my early childhood, I didn't care as much until I got to the 6th grade, where I was bullied by this one guy. He essentially made the entire class ignore me near the end of the school year for no apparent reason. It got so bad that I wanted to transfer schools the following year. I didn't, and thankfully so, because when I pulled up in grade 7, everyone started rocking with me again, and eventually I hashed it out with my bully too. Everything was Gucci, but I think this caused me to subconsciously start caring what others thought in order to fit in and make sure I never got bullied again. This started a toxic cycle for me, as I would often do something only if I thought everyone else would think it was cool and not purely based off of what I thought. I was a popular kid in high school and I managed to avoid getting bullied for the rest of my life. But now that I look back at it, I didn't live my life to my full potential. I didn't do a lot of the things that I wanted to do because of what other people may think about it, and that's just unfortunate. Even in my 20s, I was scared to do a lot of things because I was scared of what people would think. I would say in the last year, I finally said fuck it and fuck everyone's opinion and started doing me. And let me tell you, it is such a liberating feeling. I really wish I had done it way before in my life. For example, starting this YouTube channel this year was a big thing for me, considering I actually did do YouTube around the 2010s when Modern Warfare 2 was out. And I made gaming videos, but I never continued it because even though I liked doing it, I worried too much of what other people thought of me. You can see that this is not the ideal way to live. Overthinking and overcaring is just going to lead to unhappiness and regret. Life is short, it's not guaranteed, and for that fact, we must cherish it and live it to the fullest. When you really think about it, all the greats are people that genuinely do not give a shit what other people think of them. For example, think about the late Kobe Bryant. He was so locked into his own grind that I'm sure what other people thought of him didn't even register in his mind. And because of that, he went down as one of the NBA's greatest to ever play. Even think about characters like Naruto and Goku. Imagine if Naruto cared what others thought of him. He would be a bum and the whole anime would be a flop. There's no way in hell that he would become the Hokage with that mindset. Instead, through every scenario, Naruto would rise up to the challenge and stick to his ninja way no matter what people said or thought of him. His drive was so strong that even guys like Pain and Obito shifted their mindset because Naruto was able to influence them so heavily. Goku is one of those characters too. Never in the history of Dragon Ball Z have you seen Goku do something that he didn't want to do. Sure, Chi-Chi might have made him run the odd errand here and there, but at the end of the day, Goku would gladly do anything for his wife. Aside from that, Goku stayed kicking ass and leveling up past everyone's expectations simply because he did not give a fuck. We gotta idolize this mindset of not caring. The last thing we want to do is have regrets in our final days because we were simply scared to live our lives. Once you finally learn to let go, it's such a liberating feeling. It's like a black cloud that's been hovering over you finally goes away and the sun starts to shine once again. Have you guys ever interacted with an old person that just happens to be so carefree? You can tell with those type of people that they've just been through so much in their life, and at one point they probably said, screw it, I'ma just do me. These people are usually super calm and always smiling and laughing. It seems like whatever comes their way will never be able to shake their soul. I really encourage you to emulate these type of people because at the end of the day, we cannot control the external factors, and the only thing we can control is our next move. I know there are a ton of factors that play into this, but the rise of anxiety, depression, and stress for the last 20 years has skyrocketed, and that has a lot to do with how our society operates now, especially with the rise of social media. However, a lot of it has to do with the fact that people care too much about shit they can't control. Yes, social media plays a huge part in these rises, but at the same time, if you could shift your mindset to that of not caring what other people think, then you're unlikely to feel anxiety, stress, depression to the levels that are being reported. It's always been a mindset thing, and I want to pinpoint the fact that it's in our control. We can choose how we wish to think. Once we expel this toxic mindset and replace it with that of a positive one, you'll start to see a lot of benefits. You're going to feel much more confident going through life, build better relationships, and overall increase your productivity levels. The confidence that you will feel after liberating yourself will be off the charts because you're no longer going to care what other people think. You're going to walk different, talk different, and overall just be way different. Not in a bad way too. You'll be exactly who you are, but in such a way where people will respect the level of confidence that you emit. This is the same reason you look up to and respect certain athletes or artists or even celebrities. It's because we can feel their confidence. They're unapologetically themselves and people resonate with that confidence. They respect it and they want to be like them. When you feel more confident, you will build better relationships as a byproduct of that. Your friends will respect you because you will not bend to anyone's will, and you'll have healthy boundaries in place and be more of yourself, which will attract like-minded people. People who you would want to be around and not people that you just hang with because you're afraid of what other people think of you. This mindset will also attract women like crazy. Women love confident men. I'm sure you guys have come across guys in your life that weren't objectively attractive, but they just knew how to talk and were hella confident. Maybe they were a funny guy or something like that, you know? That dude gets a lot of women because he moves so confidently and is unapologetically himself. He isn't afraid to speak how he wants to speak, and women love and respect that type of dude. Now that you are not spending so much time thinking and doing these things that you don't want to do, you have way much more time for yourself and building your empire. Trust me, a lot of time will be recovered because if you really crunch the numbers, the time you spend thinking plus doing things that don't align with your purpose, they will add up over time to a crazy amount. Now, you guys are probably wondering, how am I supposed to stop caring just like that? It's not like I can just flip a switch or something. Well, actually, for a small minority of people, you can just flip a switch. You are capable of controlling your thought patterns, you simply have not tried it before. For others, it's going to be a longer process, starting with controlling your breath work. Stay with me now. I know you guys are thinking, what the hell does breathing have to do with thinking? But it's scientifically proven that an out-of-control breathing pattern can lead to anxiety, stress, and overall poor decision-making. Think about it. Whenever you are angry, you're never breathing calmly. When you're focused on your breathwork, your mind calms down and is able to make rational and effective decisions. So breathwork is very important when trying to rid yourself of overthinking and overcaring. This simple exercise is just to inhale for 3 seconds, hold for 3 seconds, and then exhale for 3 seconds. And do that for at least 10 breaths. That will effectively calm your mind down and help you regain a clear head. And you can use that technique whenever you catch yourself going too hard into an emotion or when you're overthinking or catch yourself overcaring. Another technique is to put the devices down for at least 30 minutes and perhaps get some sunlight and water into your system. This is a very effective technique, especially because everyone is constantly on devices all day, and that can lead to people getting sucked into the digital world. I think it's called touching grass, but really this concept of touching grass is super effective to calm yourself down and realign your mind with your purpose. The last thing I could recommend is to always remember this. Life is short and it is not guaranteed. Live it to the fullest and understand when it is your time to go. You will not be thinking about what a certain person thought of you, but instead you will reflect upon the path you took in your life, your loved ones, and ultimately your own opinion on your own life. That's that, my friends. Hopefully you guys learned something from this video. Leave a comment about what you guys think. Are there any techniques that you guys use personally to help you stop over caring? And as always, thanks for watching and stay frosty, my friends.